So we start every day by pretty much sorting through good foods and bad foods, those that are healthy, and then we use that to go to the market and make some food choices. So next one, thanks Leon. So with lots of these students, going out of school is a real big deal. Leon, paying attention please. So going out of school for these kids is a really big deal because some of them live in communities where because of their disability, they're stigmatised. Stigmatised, does anyone know what that means?
Basically, people judge them.
Good, they judge them in a negative way. Excellent. So they could go out and they could be abused as they walk in the street. And so often their parents, either from safety or embarrassment, keep them at home. So they had a really good time. It's a real treat for them. So this is us just heading off to local shops. Next one, Leon. Yeah, so we went to a kind of upmarket shop. This would be where the kind of rich folks of Accra go shopping. And we were applying a bit of critical thinking here, trying to get kids to decide if something, say, if we got a food item, a drink, maybe, and it says that it's natural, we're getting the kids to think, does that mean it's necessarily healthy? If you've got a fruit juice drink full of sugar, it says it's got fruit, it says it's natural, does that mean it's healthy? Not necessarily, yeah. It's going to be chock full of sugar, and the fruit or whatever's natural in it might not. That doesn't really mean anything. It's just a marketing scheme, really. Right, next one. Right, so from this quite posh shop, we then went out to this famous market. This is on quite a lot of like documentaries on YouTube. This is a really dirty, filthy market. It's known around the world for being a place where essentially hackers go to harvest parts of computers. So if we chuck a computer away, we give it to charity, a lot of the time it ends up in this huge market/dump in Accra. And there's people working in the filth and the smoke trying to get these parts, hard drives, out of computers. Once they've got the hard drive, they try and hack the personal information, and they do all sorts of scams where they can, credit card scams and so on. But this is also a place where they sell food, and this is where you go to get the cheap food, right? But it's absolutely filthy. It is disgusting. There's rivers just full of rubbish. It stinks everywhere you go. So we're trying to get the kids to actually think about what the risks are of getting food from these kind of places. And as the statistic says, yeah, thousands of kids are dying from essentially diarrhea from the unsafe drinking water, unwashed food. So it's a real serious issue. If you think about coronavirus at the moment and the numbers that it's killed, not even remotely close to that, is it? So I'm not saying coronavirus isn't a problem, but you know, if you put it in comparison, in Italy alone, we've got about 850 people dead from coronavirus.
No.
Yes, not good news, but here, 7,500 children a year. Good. Right, okay, move on, Leon.
Not really good.
Well, yeah. We've dealt with that. Maybe that was a Freudian slip due to children. Yeah. Right, okay, so first, right, we've discussed with the students at this point all about, you know, what foods are healthy for your body. Then we moved on to taking it into a global issue. What foods are actually good for the planet? We did a milk tasting session. Many of these children have only ever tasted goat's milk or just conventional cow's milk. They haven't heard of things like soya milk or almond milk, so they had to do some blindfolded milk testing. And then once we'd done that, most of the kids were pretty good at assessing which milk was which. And most of them preferred the Alpro soy milk, which is one of my favourites as well. Then we looked at the different environmental impacts of those milks. So we're looking at the amount of land used up, the amount of water used, and so on. So many of the kids said they were going to be switching to Alpro, though in many ways this is a bit unfair because people in the developing world aren't really the problem in terms of consumption a lot of the time, because they can't even afford the more environmentally friendly milks or environmentally friendly vegetarian foods. They just don't have access to it. It's us in the West who consume a lot of that stuff. Right, next one, Leon. No, I don't know what's happened there. Okay, so Friday, this was kind of a day where we wrapped things up. We did a certificate giving, Leon. So all the students who had participated, they all got certificates, and on the back of their certificates they made artistic designs which they took home to their parents, which were recommending certain tips, you know, like avoiding fizzy drinks to take to school, more fresh fruit and vegetables in their diet. Yeah, so that's pretty much that. That's a Najma girl who had cerebral palsy. That's Joshua, he was a very sharp kid. I've forgotten who that is. But yeah, the school's actually very big, so they've got a huge outdoor area where they do a lot of sports, and dancing is pretty big there, so they do dancing every Friday. If you move on. Yeah, so that's just me kind of saying goodbye to everyone. No, again, a slight issue there. Okay, so then on my extra, I stayed an extra week, and I volunteered in a school, but I won't go into that today. That was an Islamic school in a much poorer part of Accra. But my extra day, I went down to the British Council building in Ghana. Remember, the British Council are the people funding all of this, so I went down to meet them and discuss the actual project. Okay, so looking at this, right? Ghana is a society. What does this tell us? These kind of photos I was taking as I went around about how Ghana is different to the UK. It's a real big difference. It's noticeable in daily life. Ghana is a deeply something country. What do we have here? What's this?
A mosque.
A mosque, yeah. And what do we have here?
Much religious.
Excellent. So yeah.
Church.
Yeah, almost everyone goes to church, and the people who don't go to church go to mosque. So on a Sunday, it's deserted up until about 2 or 3 p.m. People really take religion seriously in Ghana. You do meet occasional people who aren't religious, but they're few and far between. Next one. Okay, so that was my sightseeing day where I went to a few of the kind of historic sites. I don't know if any adults in the room will know this, maybe some of the students will, but who do you think this chap is here?
It's you.
Sorry?
It's you.
Not the handsome guy. This ugly freak behind me.
Yeah.
Is it Kwame Nkrumah?
Well done, JR. Yes. Round of applause for JR. Yeah, so he was the first president of a liberated and independent Ghana. And he believed in very kind of socially progressive policies, like, let's run Ghana for the people of Ghana. Can anyone guess what happened to him because he had those principles?
He died.
Did he die?
Assassinated.
He was assassinated, yes. Okay, good, moving on. But yeah, that's the British Council building. This place was like paradise to me because it had air conditioning. So after a week of just melting, it being ridiculously hot, going in here, they had the best aircon. No. No, that's a luxury. So some hotels are going to have it, but generally it's a luxury. Right, is that the final slide? The end. So yeah, thanks to the British Council for their assistance on this one, and hopefully we'll be seeing Hannah from this school soon. So any questions?